Konnichiwa, welcome to How to Japanese series. In this video, you will learn how to use mashou and mashouka as invitations. In plain speech, I watch TV is terebi o miru. We use the verb in short form. In polite speech, we would say terebi o mimasu, using the verb in its long form. If I would like to invite people to watch TV with me, I would say terebi o mimashou. Let's watch TV. I can also say, テレビを見ましょうか? Shall we watch TV? How do we change verbs from their short forms to ましょう forms for invitation? If you know must forms of verbs, changing them to ましょう forms is very easy. To do so, we will first need to know the Japanese verb types. There are three types of Japanese verbs. The first group is う verbs, also known as group 1 verbs, such as the verbs that you see here. There are 9 possible verb endings for this type of Japanese verbs. The second group is る verbs, also known as group 2 verbs, such as the verbs that you see here. There is only one possible verb ending for this type of Japanese verbs, which is る, and る has to be preceded by an e sound or e sound. The third group is irregular verbs, also known as group 3 verbs, and they include the following 2 verbs only. These verbs are short affirmative forms. Let's begin with る verbs and change them from short forms to must forms. The long form of 食べる is 食べます. The long form of 見る is 見ます. The formula is to drop the る ending of a る verb and then add ます. This way you will get the long form, aka polite form of the る verbs. This time we are going to conjugate the う verbs. As I mentioned earlier, there are 9 possible endings. They all have the う endings. Let's look at 買う first that ends with う. When you first learned hiragana, you learned a, I, u, e, o, and う is a part of this row. Let's move down to 待つ, to wait, and its ending is つ, and つ is a part of the 立ちつてと row. The third word you see here is わかる, which has the る ending, and る is a part of the らりるれろ row. Here's the rest of the table. Please note, column 1 has all of the a sound characters. Column 2, e sounds. Column 3, u sounds. Column 4, e sounds. And column 5, o sounds. I hope by now you have noticed that the endings of う verbs are just like the ones in column 3. Basically, column 3 contains the ending of う verbs in their short forms. It is very important to know this table well as you will use it for う verb conjugations. Now we're going to use this table and change う verbs into their must forms. I am duplicating the verb list here so that I can show you the short forms and their must forms side by side. How do we exactly change these う verbs to their must forms? Let's revisit the middle column, which is the third column with the う sound characters. We're going to move from column 3 to column 2, containing all of the e sound characters. To change う verbs into their must forms, we will need this e sound column to replace all of the う endings. Now we're going to add ます. By doing so, we are changing 買う to its must form, 買います. Now apply the same rule to 待つ. So its must form is 待ちます. Now apply the same rule to わかる. Its must form is わかります. You can pause the video and practice the rest of the must forms. The meaning of the short form is exactly the same as its must form. The only difference is we use the short forms in casual speech and the long forms in polite speech. Must forms are the long forms used in polite speech. When we change must to ましょう forms, we have changed a verb from its long form to an invitation, meaning let's do something. For example, 買います means I will buy something. 買いましょう means let's buy something. 待ちます means I will wait. And 待ちましょう means let's wait. You can add ましょう to the rest of the verbs. By doing so, you are changing them to invitations. We can add か to ましょう. By doing so, we have changed the verbs to shall we forms. For example, 買いましょうか means shall we buy it. 待ちましょうか shall we wait. Dialogue 1 using ましょう as an invitation. 明日映画を見ましょう。
ええ、そうしましょう。
Yui is inviting Taka for a movie using the verb in ましょう form as an invitation. Since Taka is accepting the invitation, he says,
ええ、そうしましょう。
let's do so, which is a universal answer to accept all invitations by saying, let's do it. Dialogue 2 using ましょうか as an invitation. 明日映画を見ましょうか？
明日はちょっと。
来週はどうですか？
いいですね。来週映画を見ましょう。
Yui is inviting Taka for a movie using ましょうか, but the timing is not good, so Taka says,
明日はちょっと。
So Yui suggests 来週はどうですか? How about next week? Here you can see negotiations between the two of them to reach a common ground. Here please find 6 tables of commonly used nouns and verbs in their ましょう forms that you can use as invitations. I hope you find them useful. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. ではまた。